Captain Alex Wilder stared out the window of his small apartment at the churning Pacific Ocean. The early morning sun glinted off the waves. His phone buzzed for the 5th time. He finally picked it up. "Wilder," he answered. "Captain, this is Admiral Kent. I need you at headquarters. Now." Alex sighed. His vacation had lasted all of 3 days. But duty called, and he had never been good at saying no. An hour later, he walked into a room that made him stop in his tracks. Standing beside Admiral Kent was a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and large, silver eyes. An alien. "Captain Wilder, meet Ambassador Zorax of the Valdurian Collective," said Admiral Kent. "He has a problem only you can solve." Zorax stepped forward. "Captain, my people need human expertise. We are masters of space travel, but the depths of oceans remain a mystery to us. We have a planet, Nereus 9, composed entirely of water. Our most advanced vessels have disappeared trying to explore its depths." Alex raised an eyebrow. "And you want us to try? Our technology must seem primitive to you." "Your technology, yes," said Zorax. "But your experience with high-pressure environments is unmatched in the galaxy. You humans evolved on a water world and have been exploring your oceans for centuries." Admiral Kent handed Alex a folder. "The U.S. Marauder is being prepared as we speak. It's our newest deep-sea vessel, built with some Valdurian materials but using human designs." Alex opened the folder and studied the specs. The submarine looked like a black manta ray, sleek and powerful. "Who's my crew?" "You choose," said the Admiral. "4 of your best." 3 days later, Alex stood in the hangar looking at the massive ship that would take the Marauder to Nereus 9. His chosen crew stood beside him. Olivia Carter was checking her tablet. As chief engineer, she had already inspected every inch of the Marauder twice. "The pressure systems are better than anything I've ever worked with, Captain, but I still added some old-school mechanical backups." Sam Jackson nodded in agreement. The navigation officer had served with Alex on 3 previous expeditions. "The alien nav systems are impressive, but I've installed traditional sonar and mapping tools too. Better safe than sorry." Diane Miller, their marine biologist, could barely contain her excitement. A whole planet of undiscovered ocean life. This will rewrite every textbook ever written. John Riley, communications specialist, was more reserved. "The translation software should help us document everything properly. If we find anything to talk to down there, that is." Ambassador Zorax approached the group, looking skeptically at the Marauder. The submarine was being loaded into the Valdurian ship. "This vessel seems rudimentary," he said, running one of his 4 hands along the hull. "Our ships that vanished had quantum shielding and phase shift technology." Alex smiled slightly. "Sometimes the oldest solutions work best for the oldest problems. Ambassador, water doesn't care about quantum anything. It just pushes, and we've been building things that push back for a very long time." The journey to Nereus 9 would take 3 weeks in the Valdurian carrier. The crew spent that time training, studying the limited data on the planet, and adapting to the slightly different gravity of the alien ship. On the final day before arrival, Alex gathered his team in their small meeting room. "Tomorrow we see this planet for ourselves," he said. "We'll be the first humans to visit an alien ocean, and possibly the first beings to reach its greatest depths. The Valdurians have lost 3 ships trying. They're counting on us to succeed where they failed." Sam looked up from his charts. "What do you think we'll find down there, Captain?" Alex shook his head. "I don't know, but that's why we go into the abyss. Not because we know what's there, but because we don't." Diane smiled. "Well, whatever it is, it's about to meet humanity for the first time." "Let's make a good impression," said Alex, as the alarm sounded announcing their approach to Nereus 9. The Valdurian ship exited faster than light travel with a gentle shudder. On the main viewing screen, Nereus 9 appeared, a perfect sphere of deep blue that filled their vision. No landmasses broke the endless ocean surface. No clouds floated in its thin atmosphere. It was water all the way down. "It's beautiful," whispered Diane, pressing her hand against the glass. Alex nodded. "And big. About twice Earth's size." Ambassador Zorax joined them on the observation deck. "Our scans show ocean depths reaching 100 miles. The pressure at those depths would crush any vessel ever built." "We'll see about that," said Olivia with a confident smile. The crew boarded the Marauder later that day. The submarine gleamed under the lights of the Voldurian launch bay, its black hull absorbing the light like a piece of the void. Inside, the control room hummed with activity as systems came online. "All systems green," reported Olivia from the engineering station. "Hull integrity at 100%. "Navigation ready," added Sam. "Though I'm not sure how useful our maps will be in uncharted waters." John tested the communications array. "Comms functional. We should be able to stay in contact with the Voldurian ship down to about 15 miles, assuming standard conditions." "Which we shouldn't assume," said Alex. "Let's treat this like any Earth dive. Expect the unexpected." The launch sequence began. Massive doors opened beneath the Marauder, revealing the dark blue expanse of Neris 9. With a gentle lurch, the submarine detached from its moorings and descended toward the surface. The Marauder hit the water with barely a splash. For a moment, they floated, adjusting to the slight difference in buoyancy compared to Earth's oceans. "Beginning descent," said Alex. "Take us down, Sam." The submarine angled downward, its powerful engines pushing them deeper. Through the forward viewports, the light from the planet's small sun quickly faded. By the time they reached half a mile, they were switching to external lights. "Water composition is unusual," noted Diane, studying her readings. "Higher mineral content than Earth's oceans, and there's some kind of ionization I've never seen before." As if to confirm her observation, the Voldurian sensor array suddenly flickered and went dark. "Captain, we're losing the alien tech," reported Olivia. "The ionization is interfering with their quantum systems." Alex nodded calmly. "Switch to our backup systems." With practiced efficiency, the crew activated the traditional human technology that had been installed alongside the Voldurian equipment. Old-fashioned sonar pinged through the depths. Mechanical pressure gauges replaced digital ones. Hand-operated controls took over for computer assistance. "All human systems operating normally," said Olivia with a grin. "Sometimes older is better." They passed the 5-mile mark, the depth where the first Voldurian vessel had disappeared. The Marauder's hull creaked slightly under the increasing pressure, but held firm. "Picking up something on sonar," said Sam. "Looks like debris." They approached cautiously. In the beam of their lights, twisted metal floated in the darkness, the remains of an alien submarine. The sleek design was crushed inward, the hull folded like paper. "Their ships are designed for space," said Olivia, examining the wreckage through the viewport. "They build to withstand the absence of pressure, not its presence." "Let's not join them," said Alex. "Take us deeper, but carefully." As they continued their descent, the darkness outside was occasionally broken by flashes of bioluminescence. Strange creatures darted through their lights, some resembling jellyfish but with geometric patterns, others like long ribbons that pulsed with internal light. Diane worked frantically at her station, recording everything. "These species aren't just new to us. They're new to science entirely. The Voldurians never got this deep to study them." At 10 miles down, they found the second wrecked vessel, even more thoroughly destroyed than the first. "Communications with the surface are getting spotty," reported John. "Too much interference from the ionized water." Alex studied the depth readings. They were already twice as deep as any human submarine had gone on Earth. But something told him they'd barely scratched the surface of Neris 9's secrets. "Continue descent," he ordered. "Let's show our alien friends what humans can do." Day turned to night, then back to day aboard the Voldurian ship above. But in the depths where the Marauder swam, time had no meaning. Only the steady tick of the clock and the growing number on the depth gauge marked its passing. "25 miles down," announced Sam. "We're officially deeper than any vessel in recorded history, human or alien." The crew exchanged proud glances, but their celebration was short-lived. The Marauder's sonar pinged with an unusual return. "I'm picking up something ahead," said Sam, adjusting his instruments. "Large structures, perfectly straight lines. Not natural." Alex leaned forward. "Show me." The forward lights cut through the inky darkness, revealing shapes that made the entire crew fall silent. Rising from the seabed were massive towers, arranged in perfect geometric patterns. They seemed to be made of a dark material that absorbed rather than reflected light. Despite the crushing depth, they stood undamaged, as if they had been built yesterday. "Are those buildings?" whispered Olivia. "They're artificial," said Alex. "Someone built these." Diane's hands moved rapidly over her instruments. "I'm detecting faint energy signatures, unlike anything in our database." "The Voldurians never mentioned other intelligent life on this planet," said John, trying to establish a stable connection with the surface to report their finding. Sam guided the Marauder closer to one of the structures. Its surface was covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "I'm recording everything," said John. "The communication link is weak, but I'm sending data packets whenever we get a clear signal." The Marauder circled the underwater city, for that was what it appeared to be. The structures covered several square miles, all arranged in a pattern that suggested careful planning and advanced engineering. "These structures predate any known galactic civilization," said John after running the symbols through their database. "The Voldurians have records of myths about a race called the Precursors, beings that supposedly existed millions of years ago. Most scientists consider them legends, like Atlantis on Earth." "Not legends anymore," said Alex. "Take us in closer." As they maneuvered between the towers, a faint blue light began to pulse from within one of the structures. It seemed to respond to their presence. "Something's happening," said Olivia, checking the instruments. "The energy readings are increasing." "It's like it's waking up," said Diane. Sam carefully positioned the Marauder near what appeared to be an entrance, a large circular opening in the base of the largest tower. The blue light grew stronger, illuminating the water around them. "Should we go inside?" asked Sam. Alex considered their options. They were millions of miles from home, deeper than any human had ever gone, facing technology from a civilization that might have been ancient when humans were still learning to use fire. "Yes," he decided. "That's why we're here." The Marauder slipped through the opening. Inside, the light was brighter, emanating from bands of luminous material that ran along the walls. The space was vast, large enough to hold several submarines their size. In the center of the chamber floated a sphere about 3 feet across. It pulsed with the same blue light, brighter now, almost welcoming. "It's beautiful," said Diane. John was frantically recording everything. "The Voldurians are going crazy up there." The few data packets getting through have their scientists in an uproar. They never found anything like this in all their explorations. Sam moved closer to the viewport, staring at the sphere. "Captain, I think it wants us to take it." "Based on what?" asked Alex. "I don't know," admitted Sam. "I just feel it, like it's calling to us." Alex studied the sphere. This was first contact with technology millions of years old. Everything in his training said to be cautious. "Prepare the collection arm," he ordered finally. "Let's see if our new friend wants to come along for the ride." As the Marauder's mechanical arm extended toward the sphere, the blue light pulsed faster, almost eagerly. When the arm gently closed around it, the entire chamber lit up in a dazzling display of light and color. "I think it likes us," said Sam with a smile. The glowing sphere sat in a special containment chamber aboard the Marauder. Its blue light pulsed gently, casting strange shadows across the walls. Every crew member had come to look at it at least once during their rest periods. "The Voldurian scientists want us to return to the surface immediately," said John, reviewing the latest communication. They're eager to study our find. Alex shook his head. We're just getting started. Tell them we're continuing deeper. Are you sure, Captain? Asked Olivia. We've already made a historic discovery. No one would blame us for heading back now. There's more down there, said Sam, his eyes fixed on the sphere. Since they had brought it aboard, he had been drawn to it, spending hours watching its pulsing light. I can feel it. Alex studied his navigation officer. What do you mean, you can feel it? Sam looked embarrassed. It's hard to explain. When I'm near the sphere, I get images in my head, flashes of something deeper in the ocean, something important. Diane frowned. That could be dangerous. We should run some tests before we go deeper. We'll be careful, said Alex. But Sam's right. We didn't come all this way to turn back at the first discovery. Set course for 40 miles down. The Marauder descended further into the abyss. The pressure gauge continued to climb, but the hull held firm. Outside their windows, strange creatures with no eyes and bodies that seemed to be made of living crystal floated past. At 40 miles down, their sonar detected something that made Sam sit up straight. Captain, you need to see this. On the screen, a massive current appeared, not of water, but of something denser, flowing like a river through the ocean itself. What are we looking at? Asked Alex. Olivia ran several tests before answering. It appears to be liquid metallic hydrogen, but that's impossible. This substance shouldn't exist outside the cores of gas giants. Apparently no one told the river that, said Alex. Can we approach safely? I think so, said Olivia. But I'd keep our distance. The density boundary between the river and the surrounding water could create dangerous currents. The Marauder moved alongside the strange river. It flowed like quicksilver, gleaming under their lights. The communications console beeped. Message from the Valdurians, said John. They're saying we should be crushed by now. Their mathematical models show the pressure at this depth should have collapsed our hull hours ago. That's what their equations say, Alex replied. But sometimes the universe doesn't read the textbooks. Tell them we're continuing our exploration. As they followed the river deeper, they began to notice something strange. The creatures swimming near the boundary between the metallic river and the normal ocean water grew more complex. Some had what looked like tool-using appendages. Others swam in formations that suggested social organization. These beings are using the density boundary as a protective environment, said Diane in amazement. It shields them from pressure and predators, allowing them to evolve without competition from the upper ocean. One creature in particular caught their attention. About the size of a dolphin, it had 6 finned limbs and a body covered in bioluminescent patterns that changed rapidly. It's watching us, said Sam quietly. The creature circled the Marauder, its patterns shifting in what seemed like deliberate sequences. Then, to everyone's surprise, it swam directly to the viewport where Sam sat and pressed itself against the glass. At that same moment, the sphere in the containment chamber pulsed brightly. It's trying to communicate, said John, his voice filled with wonder. The creature's light patterns synchronized with the sphere's pulsing. Sam placed his hand on the viewport glass. A feeling of warmth spread through his mind, not intrusive, but curious and friendly. It's saying hello, said Sam softly. And it wants to show us something. The creature darted away, then turned back, clearly waiting for them to follow. What do we do, Captain? Asked Olivia. Alex looked at each of his crew members, then at the patiently waiting alien. We followed, he said. That's why we came into the abyss. The Marauder followed the dolphin-like creature along the strange metallic river. Hours passed as they descended deeper, reaching 60 miles below the surface. The pressure outside should have been impossible to withstand, yet something was different here. Captain, I'm getting unusual readings, said Olivia, checking her instruments. The pressure is decreasing. That shouldn't be possible. But it's happening, said Alex. Nature is full of surprises. Their guide led them to where the metallic river widened into a vast underground sea. The Marauder's lights couldn't reach the far side. Above them, The regular ocean formed a ceiling, the density difference creating a boundary as clear as glass. What they saw inside this hidden sea left them speechless. Structures dotted the seafloor, not ancient ruins like before, but living communities. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved about with clear purpose. Some tended to what looked like underwater gardens. Others appeared to be mining the seabed for minerals. "It's an entire civilization," whispered Diane. "They're farming, building, working together." John was recording everything. "The Valdurians won't believe this. No one has ever discovered non-humanoid intelligent life before. We need to try communicating with them," said Alex. John nodded. "I'll try using mathematical sequences and light patterns, universal concepts that might bridge the gap." Their dolphin-like guide circled the Marauder impatiently, its bioluminescent patterns flashing rapidly. "I think it wants us to keep following," said Sam, who hadn't taken his eyes off the creature. The sphere in the containment chamber pulsed in sync with the creature's patterns. The Marauder moved deeper into the hidden sea. More creatures gathered around them, showing no fear, only curiosity. The crew named them Abyssals. The largest abyssal, with intricate patterns glowing across its body, approached the viewport. It pressed close to the glass where Sam sat. The sphere's pulsing grew stronger. Sam placed his hand on the glass. His eyes widened. "I can see images. They're showing me something." "What do you see?" asked Alex quietly. "A structure. Deeper still. Ancient, but not dead like the ruins. It's alive somehow." The large abyssal backed away, then gestured with its limbs toward the darker regions of the hidden sea. "They want to take us there," said Sam, "to the living structure." Alex looked at his crew. "Opinions." "We've come this far," said Olivia. "The Marauder is holding together better than expected." "This is the greatest discovery in history," added Diane. "We can't turn back now." John nodded. "The communication link with the surface is almost gone anyway. We're on our own down here." "Then we continue," decided Alex. The Abyssals led them through their underwater world. The crew saw evidence of their intelligence everywhere. The beings had constructed homes from mineral deposits. They grew food in carefully tended gardens. They had art, structures built not for use but for beauty, with patterns of light playing across them. "They're not just intelligent," said Diane. "They have culture." "And they've been here all along," said John, "evolving in isolation, unknown to the rest of the galaxy." After several hours of travel, they reached the edge of the abyssal settlement. Ahead, the seabed dropped away into a deeper trench. Their guides pointed down, their patterns urging the humans forward. "Whatever they want us to see is down there," said Sam. His connection to the sphere had grown stronger. Through it, he sensed fragments of something ancient and vast, not threatening, but overwhelming in its complexity. "The depth gauge reads 70 miles, said Olivia. "We're approaching the limit of what we thought possible." Alex studied the readings. The Marauder was performing beyond all expectations. The strange physics of this hidden sea seemed to shelter them from the worst effects of the depth. "Take us down," he ordered. "Let's see what our friends are so eager to show us." As the Marauder descended into the trench, a soft glow became visible far below. It wasn't the blue light of the sphere or the bioluminescence of the abyssals. This light was golden, warm, and somehow familiar, like coming home after a long journey. "What is that?" asked Diane in wonder. Sam smiled, understanding flowing through his connection with the sphere. "Something very old," he said, "and very much alive." The Marauder descended into the golden light. At 85 miles deep, they should have been crushed by the pressure. Instead, they floated gently, as if the normal rules of physics had been suspended. "Look at that," breathed Olivia, pointing ahead. Before them stretched an enormous structure that wrapped around what must be the planet's core. It wasn't like the ancient towers they had discovered earlier. This construction seemed alive, pulsing with energy and light. Parts of it appeared mechanical, with clear geometric shapes and patterns. Other sections looked organic, like living tissue. The whole thing moved slightly, as if breathing. "It's a station," said Sam. His eyes had taken on a faint blue glow, matching the sphere's pulsations. "A monitoring station. It's been here for millions of years, watching, recording." "How do you know that?" asked Alex, concerned by the change in his officer. Sam touched the sphere, which now floated freely in the control room, no longer needing containment. "It's showing me." This station was built by the precursors. They seeded life throughout the galaxy, then retreated here to observe how it evolved. The abyssals swam around the Marauder, guiding them toward an opening in the massive structure. It was just large enough for the submarine to enter. "Should we go in?" asked John. Alex looked at Sam, who nodded confidently. "Yes," said Alex, "but be ready for emergency procedures if anything goes wrong." The Marauder glided through the opening. Inside was a vast chamber filled with what looked like living technology. Pillars of crystal rose from floor to ceiling, each one containing swirling patterns of light. Screens made of some unknown material displayed images from across the galaxy, star systems, planets, even cities. "It's monitoring everything," said Diane in awe. "The whole galaxy." The sphere floated toward one of the crystal pillars and merged with it. The entire chamber lit up, and images began to flow faster across the screens. Sam gasped as information flooded his mind. "The precursors didn't die out," he explained, his voice filled with wonder. "They evolved beyond physical form. They merged with the fundamental forces of the universe itself." "You mean they became energy?" asked Olivia. "More than that," said Sam. "They became part of the fabric of reality. This station is their legacy. Through it, they gently guide the evolution of life across thousands of worlds." John managed to establish a weak connection with the Vuldurian ship. "I'm sending them images of what we found," he reported. "Their responses are chaotic. Their religious leaders are in crisis. Their whole civilization is based on the belief that they were the first advanced species in the galaxy." "They weren't even close," said Alex, looking around at technology millions of years beyond anything humans or Vuldurians had achieved. The images on the screens change, showing Earth's oceans. The Marauder's crew watched in amazement as they saw the evolution of life on their home planet, from single-celled organisms to complex marine life, to the first creatures that crawled onto land. "They've been watching us all along," said Diane, "guiding our evolution." "Not controlling it," corrected Sam, still connected to the station's information flow. "Just maintaining the conditions that allow life to flourish. They believe in freedom above all else. Each species must find its own path." A new image appeared on the largest screen. The Marauder itself, filmed from outside as it descended through Narration ocean. The perspective shifted to show the Vuldurians watching their monitors in confusion as human technology succeeded where their advanced ships had failed. "Why did they let us find this place when the Vuldurians couldn't?" asked Olivia. Sam smiled. "Because of how we approached the unknown. The Vuldurians tried to conquer the deep with technology that ignored nature's rules. We adapted to the ocean, worked with its forces rather than against them." He looked around at the living station. "The precursors value that approach. It's how they themselves evolved." The chamber began to pulse with golden light, warm and welcoming. The crew felt no fear, only a profound sense of being exactly where they needed to be. "What happens now?" asked Alex. Sam turned to his captain, his eyes still glowing softly. "Now we learn. And then we share what we've learned with the galaxy." After 3 days of learning from the precursor station, it was time for the Marauder to return to the surface. The crew had gathered more knowledge than they could fully understand in a lifetime. The sphere, now permanently bonded with Sam, served as a living connection between humanity, the abyssals, and the ancient precursors. "Are you sure you want to bring that back with us?" asked Alex, nodding toward the sphere that now hovered near Sam's shoulder. "It wants to come," said Sam simply. "It has chosen to be a bridge between worlds." The abyssals gathered to see them off, their bioluminescent patterns flashing in what the crew now understood was a farewell ceremony. The largest abyssal, whom they had named Elder, approached the viewport and placed all 6 of its limbs against the glass. Sam touched the glass from his side, and information flowed between them one last time. "They will continue to watch over the station," Sam explained, "as they have for thousands of years. But now they'll be in contact with the surface world too, through us." With systems checked and course plotted, the Marauder began its long ascent, rising through the hidden sea, past the metallic river, through the ancient ruins, and finally up through the crushing depths that had destroyed the Valdurian vessels. "It's going to be a different galaxy when we return," said John. "The data we're bringing back changes everything science thought it knew about life, evolution, and intelligence." "I wonder how the Valdurians will handle it," said Diane. "Their entire society is built around the idea that they were the first advanced civilization." "They'll adapt," said Alex, "just like we did down there. That's what intelligent species do." As they rose, the pressure outside increased again, testing the Marauder's hull. But Olivia had learned much from the precursor technology. "I've made some adjustments to our pressure systems," she explained. "Nothing fancy, just using what we already had in smarter ways. It turns out our primitive technology was closer to the precursor's approach than the Valdurians' fancy quantum shields." After 5 days of careful ascent, the Marauder finally broke the surface of Nereus 9. Sunlight streamed through the viewports for the first time in weeks. Outside, not just the Valdurian science vessel awaited them, but a fleet of ships from across the galaxy. News of their discoveries had spread faster than light itself. They docked with the Valdurian carrier, and when the airlock opened, Ambassador Zorax himself stood waiting, all 4 of his arms extended in a gesture of profound respect. "Captain Wilder," he said, his voice humble, "your journey has changed the galaxy forever. The Galactic Coalition has sent representatives from every known world to hear your report." Alex looked back at his crew, Olivia, Sam, Diane, and John. 5 humans from Earth who had gone deeper than any being in the known universe, and returned to tell the tale. "We're happy to share what we've learned," said Alex, "but there's one thing I want to make clear. We didn't go to the bottom of Nereus 9. We only scratched the surface of its mysteries." In the weeks that followed, the U.S. Marauder and its crew became legends across the galaxy. The Galactic Coalition formally recognized humanity not just as a new species worthy of membership, but as teachers. Human oceanography, marine biology, and pressure-resistant engineering became the most studied subjects throughout the stars. The Valdurians, humbled by the experience, proposed a joint human-Valdurian abyssal research station on Nereus 9. Through Sam and the Sphere, the Abyssals agreed, eager to join the galactic community after millions of years of isolation. 1 month after their return, Alex stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Coalition flagship. Earth glowed blue and beautiful on the main screen, no longer just a small backward planet, but home to the species that had changed how the galaxy saw itself. "What will you do now, Captain?" asked Ambassador Zorax, joining him at the viewport. Alex smiled, looking out at the stars. "The same thing humans have always done. Keep exploring. Keep diving into the unknown." He turned to the Valdurian. "After all, the abyss is just the beginning." Zorax nodded in understanding. "And the Marauder? Being upgraded as we speak, there are countless ocean worlds out there, and we've only explored one." Alex thought of the golden light of the precursor station, the curious intelligence of the Abyssals, and the endless depths still waiting to be discovered. "The journey into the abyss never really ends," he said quietly. "It just keeps getting deeper."